Hello, friends, and welcome to Women, Wine, and Song, the podcast. I'm Allyce, your host, and tonight I'm going to have with me Samantha Nimerov of Mountain Rose. I always want to say Mountain Rose Music because that's the Instagram handle, but they are Mountain Rose, and they are fabulous, and I love them, both working with them and listening to them. Samantha should be here in a moment, but in the meantime, I will tell you what I've been up to. I hosted an open jam in October. Gosh, time is going by so fast. I can't even keep track. But in October, I hosted an open jam at 830 North in Fort Collins. And it was like all the homies, Amorphic, Piping Hot, Float Like a Buffalo, The Buzz, Mountain Rose, Great Salmon Famine, Graham Good. And then Aqueous showed up. Well, Rob was already there with me, but Aqueous showed up after their flight landed, and they played a 30-minute improv non-song, which was just insane, especially because it wasn't a paid gig. They're just fucking around, and it was the actual coolest. So that was in support of Groove Safe. We raised like $154 for Groove Safe that night, which was pretty cool. Given that 830 North is such a small joint, you know, it was pretty rad to be able to do that and have Aqueous there. I got Samantha here now, so bear with me.
Did I do it?
You did it.
I did it.
How's it going?
So good. I set up this like weird little corner for myself to make it interesting. I'm very
perfect.
proud.
Yeah, it looks great. Is that a tree? I love it.
I think it is. I found it in the closet. It's neat.
It is. It's very pretty. I like the colors. Mine is a shit show always, but you know.
No, you got cool stuff to look at. You got like a vibe going on. You got my name down there, which is neat.
I sure do. And, you know, I do like to make it a little, you know, where's Waldo type thing. Like, oh, what changed this week? Even though literally no one's watching.
You're wearing a no shirt.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
That's so cool. I was going to wear mine. And then I was like, is that weird? Like she knows I'm from, I love that you're wearing it. That's adorable.
I always try to represent if I can. Sometimes I have guests on that I literally have no idea who they are. Yeah. So obviously those times I'm not really that supportive, but if you
do what you can when you can.
Exactly. Yep. It's a vibe. Who is your friend?
This is Dyer. He never gets let into the band room. So like when the doors open, he's like, let me in.
Get to explore.
He's my wolfie.
Little cutie.
Boy. All right. That's enough of you. I love you though. Then I've got a munchkin down there.
Oh, he's not even really a munchkin. He's pretty big too, huh?
She's a big girl. She thick.
What's her name?
That's Xena.
Oh, cute.
A warrior princess.
I dig. Okay, so I already did the awkward intro, which we'll see what happens with that later. But can you tell the audience about yourself? I've given a little bit, but I'd rather you do the job of explaining yourself.
Oh my goodness, where to begin? About myself. Well, you know me through Mountain Rose, my band, which I would say has been around, we're saying like 3 years, but with like the current like fam lineup, it's been like 2 years. So I'm the lead singer of Mountain Rose. We're a cosmic funk rock band. And that is like the big joy of my life. It's been many, many years in the making. It took me 10 years living in Colorado to like get a band together and like make it happen. So that is why I'm here essentially and how we're connected. Other than that, I'm just like a sweet little Jewish girl from Chicago, you know, just making my way through the country.
I love that. I am a little Catholic girl from just outside of Chicago.
I should have said the suburbs, but like, who knows Buffalo Grove?
Yeah, exactly. You just always say you're from Chicago because like, well, I'm 30 miles outside of Chicago. You know, It's like, what do you don't know, Munster.
You don't know. I'm out there.
Truly, it's funny. So you're from the suburbs of Chicago. And Mountain Rose is so fun. So, and you guys have a gig coming up this week, which unfortunately, obviously, we'll be premiering this after the fact. But That is exciting. I'm really excited for that one.
I'm a real stoked. Like, big thank you on that one because yeah, DJ Williams is sick. Shots Fired is like next level. So it's really cool. Like, we've gotten to play with a lot of interesting bands and all different styles. And this is the first show where I'm like, this is kind of like their music is the direction. I'm trying to like bring some of that into what we do. So that's really exciting.
I love that. They're so good. They're
They're
so
so good.
like I had never even heard of them. And then they opened for Keller at the Mish
Mhm.
a month or two. I don't even know anymore, but um I was just like, what the fuck is it? How have I never heard of these people? Like I was blown away. And they love my man Keller Williams. So, I gotta love them too.
Good vibes. Good vibes. I'm
So
so
cool.
excited. I was just like telling the guys, I was like, all right, like we had a show on Saturday at Moe's Barbecue in Englewood, which was really awesome. Like, their stage and their setup is legit. And I was like, all right, guys, like this week, like everybody like get adequate sleep. We're gonna hydrate. We're gonna eat our vegetables and take our vitamins and like be really zen so that on Friday we're all like healthy and energized and strong. And everyone was like, okay. You're like, yes, sure.
Whatever you say.
Yes. Yes, mother. Yes.
I love that. Okay, so are you weird question. Are you in your 20s, your 30s? Like where are we looking at in
Cool
this?
question. Cool question. I recently turned 32. Feeling really good about that. Feels like a good number for me. Um,
Yes.
and all the rest of us are in like early to mid 30s.
Cool. I thought we were all about the same age, but
Yeah.
it's always hard. I mean, unless it's like a clear baby or a clear like senior,
And
then
I'm real bad at that. Like, I have been in the service industry for so long and I look at IDs for a living and I'm still like, damn,
are
you're
you
40.
sure?
You look amazing. You
Right.
know?
For
Yeah.
sure. Yes, I always had moments like that where like you card them and they're like pissed because you look young and they're like, I'm old as
I'm
shit.
like,
Why are
shouldn't
you
that be
carding me?
cool for you though? Like, shouldn't you be
Aren't
like,
you
oh,
excited?
yay. Yay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh man.
Mhm.
So the original framing of this show, and it was really during a tumultuous time. I mean, all times are tumultuous, it seems. But
True.
2020 before the election was especially a hot mess. And that's when this started. So the original framework was women's stories of their triumphs,
Mm,
traumas, and evolution in the music community. So,
mhm.
based on those concepts, does anything
Yeah.
stand out to you?
Yeah. I mean, you're going to hear about this in our song that we do called Fly. That song is kind of about following your dreams and about like, hey, like, I know it looks like I'm doing absolutely nothing, but really I'm like creating my dream. There's a segment in that song where like the band drops out and I give like a little spiel. And every time I do it, it's like so emotional for me. But the gist of that spiel is, my whole life, singing and performing has been what I've loved to do. And even as a little kid, I took voice lessons. And when I went to high school, I was so excited to go to high school because I went to one of the biggest, like most badass high schools in the nation for like arts programs and things like that. And I was like, oh, like I can't wait to go. I'm going to do all this singing. I'm going to be in these productions. And I auditioned for everything and they would not have me. And it was
Fucking
devastating.
politics.
Yeah. Politics. And they were
Fucking
like,
politics.
well, they said to me, they were like, you don't really sound like a girl. Like, we have enough guys. Eh,
What does that even mean?
because I
And
like
you're a
this.
teenage kid too, on top of
Mhm,
it. Like, fuck
mhm.
you. Fuck
Yeah.
you. Fuck
Yeah.
you, coordinators at Samantha's high school, because that
That's
was
right.
terrible choice.
Didn't know what you had. But it really shook me. And I was like, wow, like there's no place for me. I had voice teachers who were like, no one wants to hear that. Like, when I would sing the way that I felt powerful singing, they're like, no. And so they would have me just like, do these like little songs from musicals, like up in my head voice. And like, cause I sing more from my chest voice. I do more of like the powerhouse, like belting, like raw
Yeah, I
stuff.
definitely like describe your voice as powerful when I
Thank you.
describe it. Yes. And that there we need all the kinds of voices. What the fuck?
I mean, it took me years to realize that, but that was the thing. So for a number of years, I was like, well, guess I should like stop trying to do this. And I just kind of like crawled into my turtle shell and was just, like sad little Samantha for a long time. And in high school, I met these guys who had like their biggest influence was Humphreys McGee. So they had this like prog rock kind of Chicago high school band. And their name was Chicago Green.
Oh, cool.
We were the best boys. And they, on occasion, would let me sing with them. And they were like, yeah, like you should sing like Janis Joplin with us. You should sing like the Doors and Led Zeppelin with us. And I was like, oh. And so that kind of gave me, like renewed confidence and a bit of hope again. And also my guitar teacher in high school was this awesome guy. His name was Raz. And he was dope. He had like one leg and he like chain smoked cigarettes. And he was just like straight, like,
I'm getting real Forrest Gump Lieutenant Dan vibes.
But he was like a blues guy, and he was like, oh, Sammy. He was like, you're too much of a perfectionist. You need to calm down. Like he was perfect for me. But he had a band of like other 60 plus something dudes, and their name was the Cue Balls because they were all bald. And I used to play and sing at biker bars with them in like the Chicagoland area. And that, again, excellent for my self-confidence because all these people were like, you're badass. Like you're a rock and roll chick. And I'm like little 15 years old in this like bottle like playing my guitar. And I was like, okay, cool. So, there was like tragedy there of like, you shouldn't do this and like triumph. But I always had a really hard time fully committing to like the artist path because, I went to this like amazing high school where they were like, you must be successful and you must have blah, 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 and move to the city and work.
You have to go to Juilliard.
Yeah. So it was very high end. And I was like, well, like maybe I should like, like be traditional and like study something, like I should be pre-med. And like, so there was kind of that inner conflict of like, well, I do feel like really academic, but at the same time, like I can't stop wanting to sing and wanting to perform. And like, I was writing songs all day, every day, like from middle school through high school and just kind of holed up in my room doing that. So I kind of had this back and forth for a number of years. And I had actually planned on coming to CU for my freshman year of college. And I like got in, I was like, okay, I'm going to Colorado. And then I was at this college fair with a friend of mine and I like walked up to this booth that had like no name on it. And I was like, what is this mystery? Who are these people? And this guy was like, oh, what do you think about Nashville? And I was like, I don't know. What should I think about Nashville? And he's like, well, like I represent this school and it's like this forward thinking, like music school and you can major in songwriting and all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, like hold the phone. And so I switched up my whole plan and I went to the school in Nashville called Belmont for my freshman year. One of the strangest experiences ever. So they had been run by the Baptist church, like the whole time they were at school, but at the same time, they had like entertainment industry studies and music business and all this like very secular, like cool shit, like cool industry shit. And they, the year before had like just, severed ties with the church and they were like, cool, we're like secular now. And I was like, all right, like that's, and like my family was like, I don't think you could hang. And I was like, I could hang, like, it's fine. And so I went there for my freshman year and I was very lucky that my roommate was like the only other non-religious person on campus. So we were like, we're just trying to do our music, man. We're just like trying to figure it out. But also like, it was a weird year to go there. It was 2008. And just like the musical climate in 2008 was like, how do I describe it? Like skinny dudes in vests.
Mumford and Sons.
Yeah, Mumford and Sons and like Arctic Monkeys and like
Lions. Was it Kings of Leon?
Kings of Leon. Which like there's nothing wrong with that kind of music, but like I went to Nashville, I was like, I'm gonna do blues, I'm gonna do Southern rock, I'm gonna like do it up with soul. And like no one there was really vibing that at the time. So I'm in this like super religious place, like no one's vibing with the music I'm trying to make. And I stuck it out for the year. I was like, no, like I just have to like see it through. I kind of have to suffer through this like awkward phase and it'll be cool. But like I just never felt natural there. And like a month before I was supposed to go back for sophomore year, I just like woke up one day and I was like, can't go. Just couldn't. I just like had the call. I was like, Colorado's calling. And so I like drove out here like sight unseen with my dad. And I was like, I kind of got to do this. And he was like, oh, shit. All right. Whatever. Crazy one. I'm definitely like the black sheep of the family, but they like let me do my thing. They're like, all right, there she goes.
I call it the tie-dye sheep.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, tie-dye sheep. So yeah, I came out here and it's like felt like home ever since. But also when I came out here, the only music that I could find and that was like being played around was like
bluegrass.
Oh, dubstep. Like every like in Boulder.
Fair. Yeah,
Boulder proper. Like I was like, oh my God, it's so wompy here. But I just kind of like hung out and did my thing and like finished school and like off and on would like try and like get music going and be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do an open mic. And then I would go and be like, oh, I didn't love it. Like I just never wanted it to be just me. And as much as like I have these songs and I have the parts written, like I could do it, that never lit me up or made me excited. Um, and a musician that I worked with early on was like, you know, if you're going to do this, you kind of have to decide, like, are you going to be like Samantha and the blah, blah, blahs and like have all these like hired guns that just play with you? Or are you trying to do this band thing? And he at the time was like, I'll just let you know, like shit'll come up, like you'll have issues, like people will betray you. Like he kind of like painted it really negatively for me. But I could not deny that all I've ever wanted was to collaborate. And all I've ever wanted was like to bring something to like another musician and be like, make it better. Like, what do you have to say about this? Like, how can we, you know, build this sound? And that's really where my heart is right now, at least.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So
it's freaking, it's been a journey, and every weird thing that happens, I'm like, cool, another story. Like drunk lady took the mic, had to like drag her off stage, like another story.
Good Lord. What? Where was that?
That was at Oscar Blues in Boulder.
Oh,
well, it was parents' weekend, so like a lot of these out of town parents were
moms were drunk.
Yeah, and I like turned around. I was like playing tambourine at Brian the drummer. I was like vibing with him, and I turned back around. There was this like lady on the mic, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me, like you gotta go." And she was like, "La la 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 la." So luckily, we had some friends there who kind of helped like lure her off the stage. She was not having it from me. She was like, "No, no, lady, I'm singing." I was like, "Go for it.
This is my gig." Jeez. Can you imagine? I've seen that a few times actually. Like not actually full on microphone, but like definitely like vibing so hard you think that it's your show kind of.
Yeah, I was like, this is probably not the first time something strange like this is going to happen. So here we are.
I know. I saw once a guy got on stage with Aqueous in their Denver show a couple years ago, and I was just like, get him off the stage. Like I was so nervous for them. There's just no telling. And I'm pretty sure it was after some horrendous thing that had happened at some venue or you know what I mean? So like my brain's already going to some terrible place, like get them out of there. But you know, drunk people do silly things.
They do. Like you gotta have them, right? Like they rally the artists at shows. So
they get down for sure.
They get down. It's like it's a give and take. Like sometimes it's a little too intense, but then you're like, hey, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, as long as everyone's safe. That's the main thing. As long as everyone's safe, it's
100%.
Well, I would rather people not do that, but you can't. Stay off the stage, bitches. Good Lord. So after their gig on Friday, what do you guys have after that?
After the gig on Friday, we have so our plan is from that gig until January is to like track the record, but like don't get too excited. Like we don't have the money to go like full force. So we bought a new fancy mixer. I would tell you about it, but I don't know shit about that.
I'm not a gearhead.
I could talk all day. So we have this new fancy mixer. So like our plan is that like here at the house, we're going to like just like, you know, track everything, have everything plugged in, track all the songs we want on the album, take them to the guy we've chosen to help us like record and produce. And then he's going to like give us notes, let us know which songs are like strongest and ready to go. And then we're going to like slowly start doing that, which is so long overdue. Our EP, I love it. It's our little baby, but it's not what we sound like anymore.
Right.
You know? Right. But your original question, shows. So the Fox, we're playing the Fox January 15th with the Petty Nicks Experience, which is very
cool
on brand for us. So that's
let me assume that's a Tom Petty, Stevie Nicks thing, or no?
Correct.
Okay. Just checking. You never know.
Never know. Yeah. So they're a cover band based out of Denver, I think. So that'll be super fun. That'll just be like a very good time kind of crowd. We will have to not play any of our beloved Fleetwood Mac covers, which will be fun. We'll make it.
It'll be
so we got that. And then there's definitely a few other things percolating in the works that are not confirmed yet. So I will not say.
That's fair. You never want to speak ahead of time.
Right. But I am pretty stoked about that because I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a really mellow winter and we'll just like work on songwriting. And then these like shows keep popping up and I'm like, how nice.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's just the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like people are trying to, force, what is the saying? Like a square into a round peg or a round,
Yeah, yeah. The
whatever, the
hole in the
square
peg. Yeah.
peg into
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, square peg into a round
Yeah.
hole, something like
Yeah,
that.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
And it's like trying hard isn't going to get you anywhere because half of these assholes don't answer their fucking emails, guys. I'm like,
Scam.
where are the responses? Like, truly, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
zero, like, it's interesting, but this is also the tail end of the um I'm always like, I don't know what words I can say without
Yeah.
like getting flagged for shit. But
Yeah.
like, coming out of the pandemic, hopefully, um, everyone's still playing catch up. So I think that's a lot of it too, is just like, no responses because we're actually still trying to redo shows that were supposed to happen a year and
Yeah. And like they probably, as much as they're like, cool, we've got like our methods down, like show your Vax card, like this or that, they're probably like, are we gonna stay open? Like they might be hesitant to even like be booking,
yeah,
So it definitely makes sense. And I am very much a go with the flow kind of person, like as ambitious as I am when I know it's a very, you should know this about me, very rare occasion that I know what I want because I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, life is so interesting." But once I do know what I want, I'm, very
yeah,
ambitious and I like want to get it. And I'm like tunnel vision. So I've had to balance finally knowing what I want, AKA to like perform with Mountain Rose and like have that be successful. And also just like letting the world, show me opportunities when it's right. And that has been a very beautiful dance.
yeah, and doing it when it feels right, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of why I get like let people know, like I kind of leave the door open for them in case they're like, I'm not digging the feeling of
Yeah. Yeah.
talking to a stranger that will be aired. You know what I mean? Like how
Yeah.
intense, so it's like, if you want to change it, like please let me know, because the worst, it would be way worse to have you feel uncomfortable and like not just you but like everyone I have here,
Right.
I'm just like,
All the peeps.
please do what feels right
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
always, you know what I mean? And if it feels wrong, there's a reason. Maybe it's the wrong
Mm,
time, maybe it's the wrong I don't know. It
who
just
knows?
seems like things are better if you follow your gut, for sure. I was wondering if you get analysis paralysis, if it's like a Midwest thing or if it's a Midwest woman thing, or if it's a
Mm.
person who's raised in religion thing or a female who's raised in religion thing. You know what I mean? Because I have that too, where I'm like, oh God, I have so many choices, like
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Like my whole life, I was like, choices are made for me. And
Yeah.
not like because my parents were like, I mean, they were kind of strictish,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Like
like,
growing up is just like that, right? You have
yeah,
structure growing up. You have school, you have your whatever you got to do, your family commitments. Like
yeah,
that's probably one of my biggest struggles in life is decision making, specifically when it's so open-ended. Like
right.
right now I have, work has been dwindling. I'm in the service industry, so it's like kind of slow. And I'm like, okay, like what else could I be doing? Should I be doing like, should I like do some gigs, or should I like get a little part-time job, or should I like try and monetize more of my like today I literally like was like, okay, I'm just gonna like meditate, and it'll like come. And I was like, okay, where is it? Where's the answer? You know?
I feel that so hard. And they're like, if you're trying to get something out of meditation, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like,
Ah,
well, God damn it.
come on.
Isn't that when like that's when people pray too? That's probably why like a lot of prayers are unanswered, because they're
Mm.
doing it the wrong way.
You're doing it wrong.
Sorry.
My God. Yeah. Analysis paralysis is definitely a thing. And like, I like to like preface new friendships with being like, hey, like, thanks for wanting to be my friend. Just so you know, I'm going to ask you the same question a million times to like help me make decisions. Are you up for it? And usually they're like, yeah, no problem. Then they're like, damn, girl,
Like,
like,
are you
make a choice. I'm like, okay, sure.
Oh God, I am that way. It's probably why I don't go out to eat and stuff anymore because I'm just like, I don't know, it's over.
Yeah.
It's too much. Even
Yeah.
where to eat.
I feel
That's
like
why I hate dinner. Like what to make for dinner? I don't
Mm,
know. I don't
mm.
know.
Yeah, no, that literally was on my mind earlier. I was like, I cannot be in charge of meals. It is not a good role for me because my appetite fluctuates, my cravings fluctuate. I don't know. I didn't prep anything. I haven't been to the store. What are we doing? I'm going to sip on
Exactly.
bone broth for dinner because I am in like a soup phase and all I want is like hot broths. And my boyfriend is like, can we stop eating soup? I'm like, no.
No, it's
Like
soup season, bitch.
soup season, like figure it out, like order yourself something else or eat my soup.
I
I
would
love
eat all the soup with you because
Thank you.
I am just, I love soup. I just bought so much soup at Costco. I was like,
Love soup.
it's time. That is one thing I can get on board with. I am not a big pumpkin spice person, but it
Mhm.
is definitely like soup time. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's like it's hot mush season and like
Mhm.
hot mush all day. I'll eat
Yes.
like savory hot mush. I'll
Mhm.
eat warm hot mush.
Mhm.
I'm sure this is what you were hoping to talk to me about during this podcast, like my affinity
Hot
for hot mush.
mush. The name of the next Mountain Rose song, Hot Mush.
100%. Come on, get some hot mush.
With some like dirty, nasty jam in there.
Recipe for a good song.
It really is. It really is. Oh gosh. I'm so excited for Friday. I can't stop thinking about it. I wish I had better topics, but I'm like, it's gonna
Friday's gonna be no, I'm very, very excited about that.
yeah.
Yeah. And
What?
I'm so grateful to our drummer, Brian, who like, I was thinking the other day about like what we all contribute outside of like the musicianship to the band. And he is definitely the super positive commuter. Like he lives in South Denver and he drives up to Boulder once or twice a week for practice. Like almost all our gigs have been down here. Like he is like the commuter master, doesn't complain about it. He's super chill. We're always like, oh, I'm so sorry. He's like, no problem, guys. Like so he doesn't know like what his work day is going to be like on Friday. And he does like HVAC stuff. So it could be like easy job, could be a hard job. Like he doesn't know, but he's like, all right, like I will agree to take on the stress of like not knowing and probably having to rush because like y'all are so excited about this one. And I'm like, thank you. I love you.
Oh,
He's
that's
one of the best people.
awesome. That is awesome. And you need people like that. And I think that's where bands run into trouble is when, there's not enough team mentality to go around,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
I've
Maybe
tried like recently since like coming on with you and loose leaf to like have more talks and be like, hey guys, like I hope that like, if any like stress comes up, we could like talk about it and this and that. And they're all just like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I'm just like trying to put it out there that like,
just want open communication.
yeah, I just like, if you're ever like mad at me or like anything or mad at anyone, like we should talk about it. They're like, stop, like we're fine. I was like, okay, good. But like also like we should talk about it.
Just let me know.
Just set the precedent, like
Yeah,
communicate.
exactly. Leave that door open.
Because the
Someone might
busier
want
you
to.
get, the more stuff comes up.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets stressful trying to, I mean, you guys don't have a heck of a lot of support, right? Like, so you wear a whole lot of hats other than just musicians. So it does get really stressful, especially if you're outside of your comfort zone and passions are high or whatever, like it can be intense.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird world. I'm hoping the dynamics are changing as far as, I don't know, music industry in general, just the way things operate and the money dynamics and it's just crazy. Every day I'm like, this doesn't make any
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish I was good at math so I could prove my hypothesis about how fucked up all this
bullshit.
It is. I don't math well, but I know that, 700 bodies in a room times $10 is $7,000. So
Where's it going?
Where does it go?
Where's it going?
Power isn't that expensive.
Right.
Like that's what the house always is like. Power for running the lights.
Really?
Power for running the sound. And they're and it's like, I would like to see that bill.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's high, but like, I mean,
I feel like what's going on in just the economic climate right now with like, what did they call it? Like the mass exit of like everyone quitting their jobs that aren't paying them well and aren't treating them well. And like, my mom asked me the other day, she's like, but what are these people doing? Like what, not everyone went back to school. Not everyone is like started an Etsy online, crafting site. Like what? And I'm like, I don't know, but something is changing, something is shifting, and that will hopefully bleed over to the music industry. And like, obviously we want our venues to stay open. We need them to.
Yes.
So it's not like,
but it's also like, it doesn't feel like small businesses anymore. Right. And it's not.
And
like
because AEG owns so many things.
Right. Or the old LN, like people are literally dying at these fucking events, and these are the people making all the money. Meanwhile, the artists make nothing.
So
like
weird.
It just kills me inside.
I don't understand. Like, obviously the whole recording industry thing and the streaming, like that was like the first big shift of like, okay, like we can't, there's no money to be made off record sales unless you're like Miley Cyrus, like unless you're, up there and have that kind of deal. And like, I don't even think of those things anymore. I don't think of labels or like, record it's not even in my.
That is a cool thing about right now, though, is that you can self-produce anything, and then you don't have to sell your soul to
the man.
Yep.
No one's gonna own these songs.
Nope, not today.
Not today, unless I write a hit. If I write a hit and someone wants it and they're gonna pay me buku bucks, it's yours. There you go. Did you ever see that show? It was on like a couple years ago, and I ate it up. It was so fun. It was called Songland.
Oh, I never heard of it.
It was like kind of like The Voice, but it was songwriting. So there was like there were 4 judges, like big, names in songwriting, and some of them were famous and some of them were like behind the scenes people you didn't even know about. And then you'd have 4 different people come in and like sing their song that they wrote and produced. And it was usually for an artist. So each episode is like, okay, pitch a song for like Florida Georgia Line, pitch a song for like Sia, like all these different artists. And so people would come in with their songs, and it was so fun to watch. And it was so cool to watch the judges' minds work. And like, they would always like reformat the songs that they chose. Like 3 people would get chosen to work with one of the judges. They'd reformat the songs and repitch it. So cool.
That like I could watch stuff like that so today. Rad.
Yeah. That's it's insane. My mom's dream for me to sell songs. And I'm like, how do I even, like, what is she? Remember this one? Just go sell it. I'm like, to who? Like, how do you do that? She's very,
it's called sync. Is that what it is? Sync. What is it called? There's some kind of thing where you do sell your songs to like commercials and stuff, but I don't.
It's a thing. I'm just like, how do you do that?
I know this meeting I went to the other day made it sound like it's not. It was great. Like over 10 years ago, you could do really well there, but now it's like
a 1 in a million thing.
Yeah, it's like a long, arduous process with like some positive outcome, but it doesn't seem like a lot unless you do like one in a million. Like you get like this groundbreaking thing, but like.
Well, and even like placement in like TV shows, like networks will, I think, buy a bunch of songs and then just, okay, like let's put it in this show or that show. Like some people that I like kind of knew acquaintance wise from living in Nashville do that now. And like they have like all these different projects with different names, so they could be constantly pitching songs to TV networks.
Yeah, dude. Let's hit up Netflix. Like,
well,
are you guys gonna make a movie about hippies?
DJ Williams just got a song placed on Netflix.
Really? That makes me so happy. Yeah, that's cool.
Let's pick his brain.
Like, that's what we got to do. We'll get there early and we'll network.
We'll network. This is how it's done networking.
Yes.
Oh, also, we have a special surprise on Friday.
What?
So at the jam, we met all these wonderful people. And I don't know if you remember this, but I like walked up to you kind of at the beginning and I was like, oh, like I really want to try and play whipping post, but like I don't know anyone. And someone had just walked in the door and he was like, I know that song. I will drum with you. And I was like, who'd you come with? He was like, no one. I was like, you are with me now. And I like pulled him into our friend group. And so we asked him to sit in with us on whipping post on Friday.
Cool. I love that. Full circle. I love that.
Full circle. It's really nice. I just felt like it made me feel very warm and fuzzy. I was like, oh my God, we have these new friends in Fort Collins. And I was telling our drummer about this guy, Kyle, who sat in with us. I was like, he's awesome. He was like so enthusiastic. He was so great at whipping post. And Brian was like, we should have him up to play it. And I was like, oh, how cool.
I love that. That makes me so happy. I can't wait to do another one of those. I know we can't do it like super often. I don't want people to get burned out on it. And also I want to be able to associate it with summer camp, but I'm hoping that by January or February we have another one happening, but we'll see. I don't know. It's like one of those, the stars have to align type of thing. You know what I mean? Like that was like Aqueous is going to be in town a day early and their first gig is Fort Collins. Okay, that sounds good.
Well, let's see what we can put.
Yeah, but like
so fun. Everyone was so nice. I can't remember if I've ever been to Fort Collins anytime before that. So I was like, okay, what's the vibe in this town? And everyone was like really cool and down to earth. And I appreciated that. You know, I live in the Boulder bubble and I get out to Denver a little bit. And like, I can't even say I'm in the Denver scene yet musically, but like what little I've seen of it, I'm like, okay, wow. Like it's, you know, it's serious. Like people take themselves seriously and they're like, I'm trying to like, you know, do my thing. So being in Fort Collins, everyone was like a little more laid back than that. And it was really nice.
Yeah, I know. It's super homey. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel forced or you know what I mean? Like it doesn't, I don't know. I love Denver so much. I like know so many people there and I always have such a good time there, but it's overwhelming because there's so many choices to make, you know. It's like, oh shit, well fucking Dovapod is opening for Twiddle this weekend and then next weekend Magic Beans are opening for Pigeons and that's like, for me that's like a lot, you know. And they're like, wait, hold on, but there's like 4 other shows that night and there's also 4 other shows the night before and you know some afternoon sets on Sunday and I'm just like, how do you choose? How do you choose what to do and how do you not go broke?
And how do you friggin', you know, like have enough energy to see who you want to see and be where you want to be? Like with networking, I'm trying to like do more of that. And I'm like, man, like I'm tired. I went to 1 show last week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's also like a concern of mine with a lot of friends I haven't done for. I'm just like, but are you resting? Are you hydrating? Are you
have you had your soup today?
Yeah, eat some soup.
Some soup.
Truly. I mean, I just worry about my Denver friends. Sometimes the city can be a scary place, and we grew up around Chicago, so we can say that.
Yeah, Denver has quite the interesting energy.
That's the only place I've been to a trash fire.
Oh, great. Right on. Yeah.
Right downtown.
Of course.
Why are we standing by this?
What is going on?
It was like you could feel the chemicals like settling on your skin. It was so gross. We left immediately, but I was just like, this is not how a fire is supposed to smell. And this is not like, you know, it wasn't a tire fire, but it was definitely a trash.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was
like traditional.
Yes, just trash. Right. And I was just blown away. And it was at this like warehouse party.
Like on purpose? Like
yeah, dude, like people are standing around this trash fire. Like why? I can't. I know. I just don't get it. And of course, these are young people. So like very, you know, like almost a decade younger than me. So like perhaps it's just like college age shenanigans.
Right. You're like, let's try this out. Let's like light some trash on fire and like see what happens.
Because this is like 4 years ago for me. So I was still in my 20s. So these kids were younger. And it was just like, what was fucked up too is that we walk into this warehouse party and it's like this. It was supposed to be, I don't know. It was very weird. Free for the ladies that walked in. And then our friend Max got charged $20. They called it an open bar. You walk in, it's like very sketchy, like literally open bar, like pour your own drink. And, you know, I'm sure these kids think that's really awesome, but like,
like, wow, like we're really doing it.
That is so scary. So
Big
like we turned around right away, like, no. And then we got out by the fire. We're like, cool, outside fire. And then I was like, nope, that's trash
like,
burning.
this
We
is
need,
one too many trash fires for me tonight.
yeah, we need to leave. And this one's literal, which is no good. No good. It was so weird. But I mean, obviously that is not all of Denver. And I
Right.
fucking love Denver. And I've seen so many killer shows at Cervantes and the other side and whatever is down there because I can never remember the name of venues. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to Boulder.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And go see some tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like, as we've kind of like played the Boulder scene quite a bit over the past few years, like the smaller venues, and we've done the Boulder Theater, which was Dream Come True, is their COVID series. So we like did
I was gonna say someone's got something to say.
Someone's hungry. Hold on. Be right back. Come here, dogs. Come here. There you go. Bye-bye. Okay. Their papa is about to be home and they know it. They're stoked.
Are they labs?
No, they're
Huskies?
husky wolf mixes.
Damn, I was gonna say husky lab, but that makes sense.
Well, Xena, little baby girl, she's got some German Shepherd in her. And it's super funny seeing like the behavioral and personality differences, because Dyer is just like really regal and he's like, I'm magical and like I do what I want. And Xena is a little more like family oriented. She like wants to know what we're doing. And she like, people come, like they walk past a house and she does this bark that's like, I'm like, what is that? Like, what? Because Dyer doesn't like say anything. He's just like, I see them. Like he just knows. And Xena, like, it's like a warning bark, and it's very cute.
That is cute, but they don't talk and they're huskies. Did you ever see those videos?
So yeah. So Dyer recently, like in the last year, has started talking like on his own volition. We used to like howl at him and he would join in. And now like when people walk in the house, he does like like his whole thing. And he has his favorite people that he just like screams at with joy. A lot of them are in the band.
That's adorable.
And yeah, keeping them out of the band room when we're playing is like, I stand by the door and I'm like, no, but they just want to be involved. They really like the rug.
How could you blame them?
Yeah. Yeah. They're good dogs.
They're so cute. I love huskies. My friend Tara. I don't know if you met Tara. I don't think she was at the Open Jam. So. She's a photographer though. So if you've seen Tara,
I've seen she takes sick photos.
Yeah, she does. Mm-hmm. And she has a female husky, a male black lab, and then a male husky lab, the baby. The baby, but Knox is actually the biggest out of them. It's so funny, but husky speaks all the time.
You can't, now that I've had huskies, I can't ever not have a husky again. Like their personalities are out of this world. Like they're so funny and they're so smart and so interesting. And it's just like, whew, like they're spooky magical.
Yeah, my son wants a husky and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
You can't wear that shirt anymore. Say goodbye to your black.
Yeah, no shit. Mm-hmm. I know. We have a 12-year-old lab bull mastiff. He's like 100 pounds. And
wow.
He's old as fuck, dude. And he's all lumpy because, like, what are you gonna do? Old man's got tumors and like surgery is surgery is not gonna help him. So I just call him Old Lumpy. Yeah, and he just lumps around, and he like it's great. And I love having pets, but like it is so much extra. You know what I mean? And I have 2 kids, so I'm like,
oh yeah.
More extra doesn't necessarily need to happen. You know, and so like for me the thought of getting another dog was like, oh, I don't know, like, but of course the kids really want them and want huskies no less, and I'm like, lots of hair and lots of noise.
Lots of energy. When we got both of them, we were living in this like tiny apartment. And so we had Dyer for a number of years. And then a friend of mine like tagged me in a Facebook post of someone saying like, oh, I put a deposit down on this dog, but now like, I don't think I could follow through. And she like sent me a photo of like little baby Xena. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh no, this is my dog. And I know it. Like, I just like saw her and I was like, oh no, it's my baby. And so I showed the photo to Judd and I was like, so like, this is our dog. And I expected him to be like, you're out of your goddamn mind. And he was like, I know. And I was like, what? Like, what do you, what? I was expecting you to be like the voice of reason and be like, we're in this tiny apartment. Like, we can't have this dog. And he was like, yeah, that's our baby. And so, but he like wasn't sold on it. And so we like went to Denver to sell like an old drum set of his. And the amount that they offered us for the drum set happened to be like exactly as much as Zena's. And so we're like in Denver. It's like 9 o'clock on like a Tuesday. And I was like, so like, do you want to drive down to like Colorado Springs and like look at this puppy? And he was like, yes. And I was like, what? And so we drove down in a record-breaking ice storm. Like I was like white knuckled, like praying. I was like, God, help me through it. It was terrifying. And so we get there to this guy's house. His like dogs had like mated and like made a litter of babies. And so we like get there and we like go into the garage and there's all these puppies and I like pick up, you know, the first puppy. He's like, only one of them is spoken for. So like the rest are like, you know, see who you like. So I like picked up this puppy and she was like real sleepy. And I was like, oh, like, look at this baby. Like she's our baby. And Judd was like, yeah, for sure. So I like put this puppy down and we like turn to leave. And as we turn to leave, we hear this little like, and we turn around and it's a different puppy. So all the other puppies are eating with their mama. And there's like a different puppy, like, you know, 10 feet away, just like looking at us like this. And she's like, "Beep." And I was like, oh, like, who are you? And so I picked her up and she just looked at me and folded her paws and went, like, oh, you're my baby. Like you're supposed to, you come home with me. And so she, like people say this and it's very cheesy, but like she 100% chose us. Like we chose a different dog and she's like, no, 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 no. Like I come home with you. And it was honestly the best decision we ever made. Like we had no idea how he'd react because he's like very aloof and like kind of like mysterious, does his own thing. And like the minute we brought her in the apartment and put her down, he like took her and he was like, this is my baby. And she's been climbing on him and biting his ears and like all this stuff. Like he just like takes it and he's like, this is my sister. And it is the most beautiful thing I have ever experienced as a human being in this lifetime. It brings me immense joy. So not to like suggest that maybe you should get another dog, but it has been really nice.
I believe you. You just basically sold me on the husky. And I'm like, damn, those husky puppies are cute though.
Mm-hmm. And people say that they're like so hard to train. They're really not. I mean, it's easy for me to say because like Judd did most of it because he like grew up like training dogs, but you just like, you're stern. You're like, like, no,
Right.
no, no. You just like start young. Don't let them get away with anything. Like these dogs are amazing. They don't run away. Like we could open the door and they'll be like, can I go? And we're like, nah. And they're like, all right. Like they're so good. And it's just because so our tiny apartment was on open space in Boulder. So we lived like on the mountain. We had no fenced in yard. We had deer. We had like people hiking by at all times. So we were like, shit, we got to like train these dogs, like make them real good. And we did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it helps too that she had, oh gosh, hold on, don't say it. What I can remember his name, can't I? Nope, I can't. What's his name?
Ooh.
Oh, your dog, your other dog.
Dyer.
Damn it.
Dyer. Yeah.
So Dyer was already there, right? So like so Xena maybe was a little easier to train because Dyer was there. That's what people keep telling me is like, to get another dog while you have this dog. And I'm like, but that's then 2 dogs.
You know, that's 2.
That sounds like a lot because we already have, well, we had 9 chickens and 4 of them got murdered brutally like a couple weeks ago. And we don't know what killed them, but something destroyed them. 4 of them. One of our OGs too, like one of the homies, you know, it was like most of them are like random chickens, but these 2 that we got first are like our first 2 chickens.
Like OG,
so like,
OG
yeah. And one was like mangled and my child had to discover it, you know, and it's just like, oh God,
life, babe. Sorry.
Yeah. But like he also wants to like take up hunting with my husband, even though none of them have ever hunted. My husband just got back from his first ever hunting trip where he did not get anything. But I'm just like, you know, that whole part, that whole like having to face death like way more frequently than like maybe if you're dealing with humans is like I don't know. It's like, do I want to ask for like sadness? Part of me is like, oh, God, that hurts a lot.
I
Like
don't on that.
this old guy was trying to walk up the stairs with his legs that don't work. And, it's just like, why are you trying? Stop. Just lay down.
Just lay down.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Part of me that, I don't know. That's like my major deterrent. That and like extra work, which the extra work I don't mind. I would like to walk barefoot in my backyard though. And that's a thing that is
I don't know that life. I don't know about
yeah,
it.
exactly. And it's okay because I go to my front yard.
I guess that's fine.
It's just funny, like the weird because I'm a mom too, so I want to like lock my kid in the yard, but I can't do that. Yeah, because he's only a year and a half, so he'll literally be playing and shit.
Yeah. Like, dude, there's a hella poop over there.
Yeah, like come over here. He's like, no. You are a year and a half old. Why are you saying no? Well, he's maybe more than that now, but almost 2. But
he's cute. I saw a video of him earlier in your little story. Cute. He was having a blast.
Oh yeah, was it him dancing to the drums or was it him fucking with the dog? Oh, you can.
I think it was the drums. He was like doing a thing.
Oh yeah, like jumping.
Yeah.
He just learned how to hop
No,
like
that's a good
last
day.
week. Yeah, so he's been working on it, and his older brother was downstairs actually playing Clint Eastwood by the Gorillas on the drums, and I was like, I think that's Clint Eastwood. And then he came upstairs and he was
how
like,
old is he?
He's 13.
Wow.
Yeah, but he was like, he just had his first band concert last week. Yeah, like not like his own band, but like the school band. But I had no idea you could do those things. Like I was always just like so blown away that kids were in band. I'm like, how do you get in band? How does that work?
How's that for you?
I had no idea. And I didn't like ever seize it because like they had to get to school early and shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thinking about like swimmers in high school, I'm still like you woke up at 4 a.m. and then swam for 2 hours before I even woke up. Like what?
I genuinely feel like that is borderline like child what am I looking for? Cruelty, abuse.
Yeah. Like, well, they even like came out with a study recently that are like, oh, actually, like teenagers, like their bodies are different. They need 10 hours of sleep, and
they need to sleep a shit ton.
Yeah. And then we're like, okay, well, if you want to play water polo, you have to wake up at 4 a.m. I'm like, that's insanity.
Good luck not drowning.
Like if I missed the school bus, my mom would not drive me. She's like, you're skipping school today. I was like, no, Mom, but I have a test in chemistry. She's like, I don't care. Like, I'm not waking up. Like you either take the bus or you skip school. So I was always like at the bus stop, like terrified of missing the bus because I was very like type A in high school.
Yeah.
Like, get good grades, can't miss a day. And she was like, why don't we just like go to breakfast and get our nails done? And I was like, can't fall behind. She was like, whose kid are you?
Why are you like this?
Because of the school system in Buffalo Grove.
Yeah,
very intense.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if that's where like all this analysis paralysis and stuff comes from, because I mean, I work in the school system out here. I did for 5 years, and like with in an ILS department, children with special needs, and this is like some of the hardest work I've ever done, right? And you get paid $12.50 an hour, right? And it is like it's so brutal, both like mentally and physically, and not in a bad way. Every day is like brings like so much more insight to like in perspective, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, oh damn it, I just derailed myself. What were you talking about? I could see how the school system totally pigeonholes people, and they don't like, because I didn't realize, much like you were saying, that that school in Nashville that, you know, was focused on, you know, music and music production and whatever management and all that jazz. Like I had zero idea that you could go to school for something in music that was not like
classically trained stuff.
Yes. And I was like, well, I'm never going to be able to go like because I did choir for 3 years. Like that's pretty like legit as far as like, you know, experience goes
Yeah.
when you're a kid.
Yeah.
But like, you're not going to be like, yes, I'm going to college with this singing
Right.
experience. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's why I went to Belmont. I was like, oh, like I could study all these different parts of the industry. Like that's incredible. And sometimes I still like kind of regret. I'm like, should I have stayed? Should I have blah blah blah? And I'm like, I had to train myself out of thinking that way and just being like, where I'm at is where I'm meant to be. Like I would not trade what I'm experiencing now for the world. It is,
right.
like I said, like from the moment I started this with you, like the greatest joy of my life. And it's quite a windy road to get to such places. What do you get in your eye?
I got the goosebumps, and then my drink splashed. It splashed into my eyeball. It was on fire. I got goosebumps though originally, but now I think oh God. I had goosebumps, and that's what did it, was that, because it's awesome. Like I wish people would follow their joy. I wish more people would follow their joy. It's
Hey, you got to
just
get the shoulds out of your head. And I'm still like, I got like 60% of the shoulds out of my system, but they're still there.
right. But it's like, when you think about it, there are so many options available to you that none of them can be wrong, because there are just so many of them that it's like, there's always going to be a worse option, and there's always going to be a better option that you didn't know about or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you just got to go with what, I think the main thing is going with what feels right at the time.
Preach, sister. That's how
mean,
I live.
because I mean, even mine wasn't even music based, but my whole life, like evolution has been so vast. And just because of like, oh, I dated a boy, so I went to this college, and then I got knocked up by another boy 2 years later and wound up at home again. You know what I mean? And then wound up meeting my husband there. And like, you know, like wouldn't be in Colorado if I didn't ever meet my, like, just every facet of your life can change. It's like butterfly effect for real.
100%. 100%.
But that's what you got to realize in the hard moments is like, what the fuck is this ripple gonna lead to over there? You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, it might be less than what you want or whatever. Like that's what I'm keep finding. I'm just like, man, this isn't a good deal. Or you know what I mean? Like, man, this isn't what you want to see. But you know, as long as you can remember that it will build up to something if you let it. You could just drop it. Like, that's the difference. Is like, not all those ripples have to ripple. Like,
exactly.
You can follow something for a step. And then I thought that about the show actually today. I was like, why the fuck do I even do this? Because like truly I'm like looking, because today was like the first time I've ever really like sat and looked at I don't know what they call it. I can't remember, but like the overview of like, how are people consuming your, you know, media? And it was like, oh, cool. People are watching for an average of 8 minutes when usually my episodes are like an hour or 2 hours. Like the shortest it's been is 30 minutes. So like 8 minutes. Like some of these people only get 20 seconds in. How does that happen? You know what I mean? And it's like, but like, if you keep looking at that and then stopping there, you don't allow it to build up to anything. And then I got to think about like Joe motherfucking Rogan. I'm like, that dude was doing a silly ass podcast like 20 years ago. And now he's like, everyone at least knows who he is. You know, like, love him or hate him, you know who Joe Rogan is. You could say,
you never know what you're going to get out of something. Right. You never know. And I so agree with that. Like I've had so many, I don't know, I've done so many random things. And then like years later, it was helpful. Or like I met someone there who, you know, this or that, like Tom and I were talking about that today. I was like, yeah, I'm like so excited for Friday. And like, you know, it's really cool. And he was like, every show's an opportunity. I was like, hell yeah, it is. You know, like the people we met like at the Open Jam, which like we did one song, like the three of us, like we did one song, but we made all these friends. Like it's just stuff like that. And I'm very into it. I'm very into like the community vibe and just like, I don't know, it feels good. It feels good to know other people who are on the same path and like seeing them do their thing and being inspired by that for sure. And I really like, I've seen these like little blurbs, you know, on Instagram. They're not quite like memes and they're not quite inspirational quotes, but like little blurbs about like jealousy is such a beautiful experience because it lets you know what you want like it helps you center your energy on what you want, and then you get to go for it. And for someone who has trouble knowing what she wants, I'm like, that's amazing. Like
Yes.
anytime I feel like a twinge of jealousy, like I welcome it. I'm like, cool, I want that. So how do I go about
Yes.
getting that?
And that's such a good way of looking at it. Cause like you don't have to beat yourself up about that feeling
Mhm.
either, which I think a lot of people hold on to is like,
Right.
God, I'm such an asshole for
Like what
being
an ugly
jealous
feeling.
or
Yeah.
yeah.
I used to talk
Why
to
do
myself.
I?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like,
Totally.
well, hey, that is how you find the gems, right? Like you work through that is what a lot of people call it shadow work, but it could be
Mhm.
anything. Like work through that yucky feeling for a little bit and find out why it is there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And you could come out with something amazing, like
Yeah.
finding out that, oh, that is something I really want. I'm going to work
Yeah.
towards that or whatever, like it could be anything. But people are so quick to just like give up when they see that people only watch for a total of like 8 minutes. Like the gig only pays $10 a person. It's like you gotta just keep doing it if it's what you want to do, and that's the thing about following your joy is that if you're following your joy, then the money doesn't matter.
Right.
And if you go with the flow of the universe, it's even better because the money stuff does somehow work out, like I've been broke. I
Mm,
was a single mom for all of my 20s. So I mean, single. I was with my husband like starting at 23 or something, but like he was I was the financially stable one at that point in time. And so, how I just lost it. It was I don't know what we were even talking about. I derailed myself. I always do that shit. But it's cool. The evolution is cool as long as you're patient and you just follow. But yeah, if people don't follow their joy, they're gonna be on the struggle bus, I think, because like you lose energy so fast, and
mm,
like, and you don't have as much purpose. Even if your
yeah.
purpose is like getting out of bed to go to this job, it's a job you don't like. It's hard to get out of bed.
All the best decisions that I've made in my life have made no sense. Like, in terms of like taking new jobs or new opportunities, like it looks like I'm going backwards or I'm totally like doing something entirely different that may not pay as well or this or that. But I just had a feeling. I was like, I am drawn to this and I can't stop thinking about this. So I have to do this. Um, and anytime that I make a decision where I'm like, well, this checks all my boxes and it's probably the right choice, disaster. It doesn't, because it's not aligned. It doesn't line up. It doesn't feel right because it's not right. And I'm still, and that's like an ongoing process. Like I'm still making choices like that where I'm like, yeah, like this makes sense for me. I should do that. Like, I guess it's fine. And it's not a fit and I stay too long. And then I'm like, oh, and it's not,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm in a space right now where I'm like, okay, like, how can I continue doing what I love, in addition to Mountain Rose while we're on the climb up, that I could also like enjoy my daily life and like
Yeah,
make an
exactly.
income
Right.
working
Right.
on it.
Right. And that's the nice thing too, is that you do have the freedom to like kind of pick, I mean, a little bit anyway. I mean, obviously we don't get to pick our jobs. Our jobs kind of pick us too, like at the end of the day, a bunch of people apply. You maybe get picked or you maybe don't. But I mean, it is nice that there are, you can pick a job like Starbucks where maybe it's not super fulfilling like and meaningful per se, even though you could say it is. Like if you could bring like joy to someone's very beginning of their day when
It's
they're getting
cool.
coffee, like you could set their whole day up for success. You don't know, like you don't know the
Right.
kind of morning that person has had, but it's easy to flip that around and receive a bunch of shit energy and then like
Mm.
not want to participate. But like you could pick a job like that and not be super invested in what you're doing because you're doing this other thing, and you need, as long as that energy isn't out of whack. Like if you're
Yeah.
spending too much money on that job that or I mean not money, spending too much energy on that job that you're not digging very much so that you can get by and try and do your art. Doing your art is going to be harder because you're going to feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Cause you're
stagnant.
like down. Yeah.
Hmm.
I've definitely explored all variations of that and like had jobs that I like knew I wouldn't like because it like, looked good on paper, made sense. And then I've had jobs that I loved that, weren't for a long time or, like I aged out of or something like that. Like I've had numerous conversations with my mom where she's like, I don't understand why you're a waitress. And I'm like, at times I've loved it. Like I've had the flexibility, the people I worked with, like the income pre-COVID.
Yes.
Awesome. Like, and I loved meeting new people. I got so many cool opportunities just through like meeting people at the restaurants I worked at and like building networks and things like that. I was like, honestly, like it's really fun. And it's kind of another level of performing. Like you show up at someone's table.
Absolutely.
You know what they're there for. It's not like you're trying to sell them something they don't want. I'm like, which thing of the things you came here for do you want? I like you know?
Exactly. That's why I was super terrified when I started waiting tables, because that's exactly how I saw it. I was like, I gotta go like give a spiel in front of people. That's like public speaking. Like I was freaking out, and of course I was young. Like I was in college, I was like 18 maybe, and I had worked at working at Burger King. It was like kind of like that, but I was in the kitchen all the time. For the most part, they let the older people deal with the money. The kids got
more straightforward.
Yeah, the kids got to stand by the hot fryer. And but like, later on waiting tables is like, holy shit, like I gotta go talk to people. I gotta go stand in front of people and like be the center of their attention. That's terrifying. Like so scary. That's why this song is called Women, Wine, and Song. Because I was like, well, for one, Umphrey's reference. Duh. But also, I couldn't envision myself doing this without having like a glass of wine or a beer or something, because I have immense stage fright, even if it's in this setting where I'm talking to one
You would never know it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I did smoke a doob and
feeling good.
Yeah, and this is my like social time, as I nanny 2 days a week too, and then I have 2 children, so
it's your adult
like,
time.
Yes, this is my grown-up time where I get to just like chill for a little bit, and I know that they know they're supposed to. Because most of the time I'll be like, "Watch baby, would you?" And then I'll go to the bathroom or something, and he'll be in the bathroom with me, like come through our bedroom, like, where did you come from? Why are you here? Go away. Not really all the time. I love them, but it's like a long day of children. It's like I need some outlet. It's good balance though. I will say, like, working with kids part of the week and then going to shows the other part of the week. It's just an interesting, because it's like same but different.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I could totally vibe on what you're saying.
One time I was at Carl Hollingsworth at Cervantes, and I looked around and it was just like, holy shit, like people were on psychedelics, right? Like probably me included. And I was just like, oh gosh, like I just see like the same, like it was like looking at a room full of my kids enjoying music, you know what I mean? I was just like, this is so interesting. Like I wonder what that is about the brain, where you like everything is so different, I don't know, it was funny, but it's interesting how you can still see the parallels, but it is nice to have the grown-up conversation until it's not grown-up conversation anymore, because there's a point in the night where it's like, go to bed. What are you doing? That was me in October, like shit, why am I awake at 4 a.m.?
That was a hell of a month.
Oh, I was like, I don't know if I'll make it through. And October was supposed to be chill. And
it was not. It was a lot. It was a lot for most people I know. And then like all of a sudden it's November and it's like dark and there's just nothing. And I'm like, and now we're in the void. I wanted this. I don't know anymore.
I was asking for it. I was
weird vibes today. I was like, Monday, cool, waking up, doing stuff. And then I was like,
yeah, it's all gray and cold.
Yeah.
And
I was like, I'm gonna go for a walk. And then I was like, I don't want to go.
Never mind.
Ow.
Yeah, well, that's because it was like in the 70s for the last like 3 days. And now it's like crappy cold fall weather. And I'm like, is it gonna stay like this for 3 months now?
Which better not.
I know. I really hope. I really hope it doesn't. I remember when I moved out here, it was really warm in the winter.
Mhm.
And it like has fluctuated a lot since I've lived here, but
I feel like we still get that where we get like pockets of like super niceness, but the trouble is it gets like windier and windier. Like it'll be
yeah.
70 and gorgeous, but then it's like these crazy winds and I'm trying to hike and I'm like, "Ugh," like breathing in all this like dust. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted at
I
all.
actually feel worse now. This one kid I used to work with, oh, shout out Tyler. He'll never see this. He like he was in a wheelchair and he just hates the wind. Like he hates
Mm,
when it's
I
really,
resonate.
really windy like that. Like it's like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Because it's like going in your nostrils real hard
Yeah.
and everything. And it just like, he would get so worked up about that shit. And I gotta tease him a little bit, but
Mhm.
like,
I feel it though.
he would not want to be outside at all. Like, no, let's go inside. And then you
Oh,
tell,
my acupuncturist is like, never go outside when it's windy. I'm like, well, that's not reasonable.
same.
And she was like, yeah, she was like, well, at least wear a scarf. And I'm like, okay. So every time it's windy, I like wrap my neck up because she told me to like years ago. And I'm like, still do that.
Cool. Did
They can like
she
steal
say
your chi.
why?
Yeah, it's really bad. Like too much wind is creates an imbalance in the body and it could like make you really sick. Like if you were like not going to catch a cold, it can make you catch a cold. Like it's very destabilizing
Whoa.
for the body and for the nervous system. So she said, wrap a scarf around your neck and don't
That
let it.
is so good to know.
Mhm.
I like really struggle with like both the cold, but like especially the wind.
Mhm.
And I used to try and explain it to people at work because, like I said, I was working at elementary school, so we have
Yeah.
recess and shit all
Yeah.
year, and
It's
it's
like
like
windy.
a shit ton of recess. I mean, not like for the school generally, but like for our department, like throughout the day, the way it was chunked, it just so happened that my schedule and one of my best friends, Melissa, we would just have recess all day. And I'm
Oh,
like, I cannot fucking be
oh,
outside today. I
yeah.
can't do it,
Yeah.
So I would always like be stoked when Tyler was like, I don't want to do it. I
You're
can't
like,
breathe.
gotta
I'm like,
go.
yep, we're done with recess. Tyler's over it.
Yep. Yep.
Which of course, like other people aren't really allowed to do that. So it's kind of frowned upon. But also I'm like, fuck that. This kid deserves to be comfortable right now. He is
Yeah.
not comfortable,
No, that's super unpleasant. Like,
Yeah.
no one needs that
And
straight
it's
from the
really
day.
the worst. And I always try to explain it to people. Like, it fucks me up. And
Yeah,
they're like,
it
what do
really
you
does.
mean? And I'm like,
And I get a stiff neck.
yes.
Yep. Neck spasm and back spasms when it's windy.
Mhm.
I'm telling you.
Well, that's why I moved out of the Chicago area. I'm
Mm.
like, I cannot do this. My body is killing me, And I came out here one time and I was like, what is this dry, glorious
Yeah.
weather that they have
Yeah.
here? This is
And the
insane.
sun, the sun.
The sun, and it feels like sun. In the Chicago area, I feel like it doesn't even really feel like sun.
This year was the first time I'd been back in summertime in like, maybe like 8 years or something. Cause like I've always been like so busy and I have to work. So I like go back for holidays. So we went back twice this summer and I was like, this is actually really nice. Like
Yeah,
I liked it. I was like, oh, the
right.
grass is so green. Oh,
Yeah.
it's like, like there's moisture. I was like breathing it in. I was like, beyond me. My mom was like, you've been outside all day. I was like, yes, come with me. It's nice. Loved it.
It's wonderful in the summer for that. In the winter, the moisture in there, I think, is what fucks up my
Yeah,
eye.
it's horrible. It's a
Yeah,
nightmare. And then it's
yeah,
like bleak and gray. Like at least here, like the
and
sun will come
windy.
out. We'll get those gorgeous sunny winter days.
Yeah.
But yeah, the grayness I cannot tolerate of
Oh
the
no,
Midwest. I
it's so
cannot.
well, and it's worse. It's accentuated, I suppose, because like the landscape matches the gray sky.
Mhm.
Like there's not a heck of a lot of like foliage and stuff.
Right.
Like
And it's
sure
just like
you're in like
concrete, like
yeah,
strip malls, like buildings. No.
yes, yeah, yeah. I always call it the concrete jungle.
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel like every time I go there. I'm like, oh, everyone's mad at each other, and it's really
Hard path.
gray everywhere, and like people are angry. Like
Mhm.
my mom felt so triumphant when she was able to. I don't even remember what she was doing. It wasn't Halloween. It was before that. It was in the summer, and she was like walking down the street. She made a Facebook post about this that she walked down the street and she got 3 smiles. And she was like, I don't know if it's because the mask mandates are gone, or if people are just happy about that, or what. And I'm just like, you 3 people smiled at you. Like, that is like,
That's a big day in Chicagoland.
yeah, that's so sad though. Like,
I know. I've talked to people about that. Like, you know, when you meet someone else from that area, I swear to God, I had like a verbatim conversation with someone who's like, yeah, people are smiling at me out here. And it's like freaking me the fuck out. I was like, no, embrace it. You'll learn to love it.
Smile back.
Yeah. It feels good. It is a different way though. People just like go about their lives there. And it's just very like cut and dry. Like my stepdad, dude, he's like, he cracks us up because he's like the most cut and dry person you've ever met. Like if anything goes wrong, he's like, it is what it is. Like that's his like catchphrase. We're like, oh, this and that. He's like, is what it is. Moving on. Like it's just like, you know,
yeah.
He is Chicago.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they're always doing the thing, you know. It's very interesting. And I dig it. Like I am so grateful to have been raised in the Midwest. It's a like
it makes a formidable person. Like
yes.
we are, you know.
I mean, coming out to Colorado and working, for instance, in the restaurant industry, like having come from working in the restaurant industry in the Chicago area, and then coming out here, I'm just like, people are nice to you.
Yeah. It's like really chill.
Your boss lets you take days off. I was like, I could not believe that it was so mellow, you know? And like, of course, I think restaurants always have the tendency to like be a little intense from time to time, but like, it just is like it's a different caliber here and there. You know what I mean? Like it was so intense there. Like it came to a point where I was working at this, that was the last year I lived there. Cause I was just like, I can't keep doing this. Because I was working in this Cajun Creole restaurant where like I was the minority, which is like fun, like that. I don't even know how to describe it other than if you're like actually from there, you know what I mean? And so like getting 20-cent tips on, you know, $40 bills and stuff, like purposefully, or like these games like called Make the White Girl Run, where like, you know, you get to the table and they ask for one thing and then you go get it, you come back, they ask for another thing, you go get it, you come back, they ask for another
man,
like purposefully, and rightfully so. Like whatever, if that's my reparations, and like I will serve them, you know, till life's over, fine. But like it you know, it was pretty degrading, which you know, I don't know that that's the answer, is like more degradation, I think, you know, but who am I to say what, you know? So I'm just like doing the best I can. But I did that for a year and it was just like, I can't live like this anymore. It was so toxic. Like it was just, because not only was that environment toxic, but then I would go home to like my white Catholic family, who also treated me shitty because I had a child out of wedlock and was young and dumb. Like I was still only 22, 23, you know, or well, no, by this point I was like 25, 26, but still, you know, like just, you know where I went, I was like at home, you know what I mean? Like my family loved me dearly, but I'm just like very different than, you know, the vibe there. And so like, I just, you know, follow your joy, people. Like follow your joy.
So how did you get out here? What was that? You were just like, gotta go. Like, what was that like?
My husband and I just like, I don't know. We were all working that job together. And so at the end of the day, he was quitting drinking, but in the Midwest is like very much an alcohol culture. And like,
what else do you do?
Yeah. And so he was like, there's got to be better places to live. There's got to be more shit to do, you know? And he's just like super adventurous. He's into snowboarding. He's into mountain biking and rock climbing and all that jazz. And I am not a thrill seeker. Like I like roller coasters. That's the extent of it. But I just like, you know, camping and music and art. And I didn't feel fulfilled there either, you know, in those, you know, aspects. And so we just came out here in 2013. If I'm being honest, cannabis was made legal. We were
like, well, there we go.
Yeah, it's like we were living in Indiana and feeling like criminals, even though we were busting our asses and being like genuinely good civilians, like taking care of our community. And, and it didn't feel right to feel like a criminal for something that makes me feel better when I do have like chronic back pain, which of course a lot of that came from the weather there. Who knew? But then we came out here for spring break. In 2014. And we knew we wanted to move out of Indiana. We just didn't know what we were going to do. And we came out here for spring break, and it was like, oh, fuck yeah. Because we had gotten here and we got to Colorado Springs first. And it was like beautiful, 60 degrees, sunny. It was like 10:30 in the morning. And then all of a sudden it just started with these giant fluffy ass snowflakes coming down out of the mountains. And I was just like, and it's March, so
you're like
yeah, it's like, it's nice outside, and it's beautiful snow. It's not like heavy ucky snow, and I didn't feel it in my body when it was approaching, you know what I mean? Like in Illinois, in Indiana, I would be like, there's rain coming. It's coming. Which I still get here kind of, but there it was just like so much more intense, and so it was just, and we're exploring Garden of the Gods during this like magical snow flurry, and it snowed like 6 inches that night, and I was just like, look at this, like it was 60 degrees. And then it was all gone the next morning, and I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like it snowed 6 inches yesterday and it's gone. And I was just like, I could not wrap my head around the climate alone. I was just like, it's invigorating. I could not get over it. And
that's hilarious.
And so like, after that trip, we just we figured, this is where we're gonna move. But we still didn't know what town, which that's kind of that's why I love synchronicity, and I do advocate for like following your gut, because that year was the first time I went back to summer camp since 2010, and I met my now best friend Lauren at summer camp because she was friends with another one of my best friends, Miranda. They were friends of friends, they didn't know each other, Miranda and Lauren, but like while Miranda went to get another load of our gear, I'm holding down our space, and Lauren and her boyfriend at the time, Parker, and friend Haley, were all hanging out in the same general vicinity. So I was just like trying to make friends with the neighbors, whether they were people Miranda knew or not. I was just like, what's up? Where are you all from? And 2 of them were like, we're from Colorado. And I was like, rad. And then Lauren was like, I'm from Valparaiso, Indiana originally, but I live in Colorado now. And I was like, whoa. I'm from Munster, Indiana, and I'm moving to Colorado, and so then she was like, you should stay with me for free until you find, while you're looking for a place to live. And, it was just like, we went out for a weekend to like literally find a place to sign a lease, and stayed with her. And that was the first time we had been to Fort Collins, and haven't left since.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something. I like that.
Yeah. It was just like, totally meant to be all around. And like you said, like the Fort Collins community is so homey and so chill that like it really does feel like it was all kind of meant to be. And it was funny too, because I wasn't supposed to take Miranda to that summer camp. I was supposed to take my husband and his cousin, and they bailed, so I had 2 extra tickets. So I took Miranda and her friend Allie, and so I went and have even met them, you know what I mean? Because my husband would have been with me. It would have been my husband and his cousin and I, and we would have been like super lame all weekend, I'm sure. But instead I met all these really crazy cool people that I'm still friends with to this day. So I mean, follow
I love it.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen.
You never know.
No idea. It's wild.
Stranger things have happened.
Truly. Do you know what has anything like really neat or stand out happen to you, like just in the service industry? Like, has there ever been like a really crazy cool like experience with the customers, anything? Because I have one story that I'm just like, I don't know if anyone even has a story like that.
Honestly, like I'm sure, but I have no idea right now. Like there must have been like something or some things that have happened that have just been like, and then, and this, and the blah, blah. Couldn't tell you right now. What you got?
Because there's so many of them, right? There's so many interactions that it's like, but this one was so crazy. And I just want to be one of these people like in life at some time. because these two gals sat at my table at the Mish, and like, I don't know, it's just like a fucking Wednesday afternoon or some shit, it was like nothing to write home about,
Yeah.
doing my job. And they're like, do you want to play a game? Like, okay. And they were like, okay, we have 3 envelopes and we've numbered them 1, 2, and 3. And they're like, in one envelope, it'll be a 20% tip. And then in the other envelopes, it'll be a 50 or a 100, and it was 2 gals. So they're like not ordering a whole lot, you know what I mean? And so it's like, well, yeah, of course I want to play this game. The lowest is going to happen is 20%.
Like, yeah, of course.
Why would I say no?
Yeah.
I'm already winning. So I play this game, and it was like 1, 2, or 3, you got to make a choice. And then I'm like, okay, 3, because like 3's in the sequence of my lucky numbers. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna give you some time, walk away, think about it, come back, tell me if you want 3 still. And I was like, okay, cool. And I like come back, I'm like, yeah, still 3. And she's like, good choice. It was $100 in there. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, just for no reason, like just because they wanted to make someone happy that day. And I was like, that is the coolest shit ever. Like, to even think of doing that, I'm just like, you're already so fucking cool. Like,
it's
and
cool.
I
It's really fun.
I'm like, I want to do that, but I also wish I could just like meet those girls again. You know what I mean?
Like, hey, you made my day. I still think about it.
Yeah, just seriously. So
I like that kind of stuff.
Shout out to those gals that gave me $100 that day, because that was really cool.
I actually had these people recently. It was like 2, middle-aged women, and then like one of the women, her daughter came, and I couldn't really tell how old her daughter was, anywhere between like 17 and like 20 maybe. And she came with her boyfriend, and they were all vegan, and they got all like vegan tacos and stuff, and it was like a great time. And they were like, listen, like we see on your menu that you have this s'mores quesadilla where you do like chocolate and marshmallow s'mores. They're like, we really want it, but like we're vegan, and we actually were just at the store and we have these vegan marshmallows. Like, will you make it with these vegan marshmallows? And so I like went back to the kitchen. I was like, hey guys, like it was like a slow night. I was like, can we do this? They were like, yeah, whatever. And so we like made them these like vegan quesadillas, and they like were very grateful. They were so happy. And on the way out, they gave me $100, and they were like,
amazing.
Yeah, they were like, split this between you and the kitchen. Thank you for being so accommodating. And I was like, are you sure? Like, what?
I'm gonna cry.
What? And they were like, yeah. And I like remember telling my mom the story, and she like could not wrap her mind around it. She was like, why would they give you that much money? I was like, I don't know. They were like hella grateful. What can I say? Like,
sometimes it'd be like that though.
Sometimes it'd be like that. It's nice. I definitely like feel like I've had countless experiences that were just out of the norm and like really special, and like, but I've been in the industry a long time, girl.
Yeah. So you've also dealt with your fair share of pure shit.
Yeah. Like if you haven't cried in a walk-in freezer, have you really lived?
Absolutely not. You certainly haven't waited tables.
Yeah.
Especially if you like, you have no idea. Have you ever spilled ranch dressing on the floor of a walk-in? Because that shit is a nightmare. Like, why?
It's like just the way of life,
Yeah, and you can just move it around. Doesn't really go anywhere. It just adds a layer. It doesn't go anywhere. It just adds a layer.
He started like when our dogs throw up, he'll like take a piece of cardboard and like get it on the, because otherwise it's like, I was like, oh, that is smart. So now I do like the cardboard thing with liquids.
That's super smart.
Yeah, these are tools, tricks of the trade that we don't want, but we need.
Yeah, you got them. Oh, good times, dog puke. What did we start the show with? What did we start the show with? It was shit.
What?
Remember earlier when we were talking about, God, it was like mud or, oh gosh, mush.
Hot mush.
Hot mush.
Hot mush.
And now dog puke.
Yeah. We got a theme going, and it's real squishy.
It's incredibly squishy. Well, I'll let you go. I just realized that we've been here for an hour and a half, so I feel bad like taking up your whole day.
I feel like an hour and a half is like such a perfect time.
It really is. That's how you know you got into the groove. You know what I mean? Like there have been 20-minute episodes. They don't happen that often, but they happen. And But you know when it's an hour and a half that it's a good one. I wish people would listen in more than 8 minutes and maybe
Like even if they're just like doing stuff, like have it on the background, like
that's what
expose
I'm saying.
yourself
Like
to people.
right. Well, I do that all the time. I like you would think I would listen to music at home, but usually
Mhm.
I'm listening to some weird ass podcast or
Yeah.
YouTube video that has popped up in my feed. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds
Just like
interesting.
subconsciously learning about other people. I like
Yeah.
I'm into
Yeah.
it. Mhm.
But some people I guess aren't about it. I don't
Mhm.
know. But we'll get there. Slowly but surely. Every episode. My goal was 50 by the end of this year, and I don't think it's gonna happen because we're only at 27. And I'm like, shit, there's only 7 weeks left in this year. There's no way I could get to 50.
That is an alarming thing to hear.
I know. I looked it up today and I was like, oh shit, that's
Ah,
intense.
7 weeks.
If I don't 2021 was a very strange, like if it felt like a time warp.
I was that was about to come out of my mouth. Like it was a time warp. I also told Judd the other day, like, he was like, what, like you're 30. I was like, no, I'm 32. And I was like, 31 like didn't exist. Like, I don't feel like I was 31, not because of anything having to do with like the pandemic or like, I just like, it was like a blip. I was like, what? Like I was like 30, then I was 32. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever. That year
Yeah.
fell into the void. That's fine.
It's gone now.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, which is it's bizarre because then 2020 was like hyper accelerated. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's what it feels like. Like 2020 was gone, and to make up for that, 2020 was like like shit. What? I can't keep up. It's insane.
Yeah.
Totally insane. So 2022 will be really cool. I
It's
think
a lot
you're
of twos. It feels nice.
so many twos,
So
like
many twos.
so many twos.
Like really chill.
Very
Very wholesome.
well-rounded. Yes. And you'll be turning 33, which I don't know when. When's your birthday? Are you a Gemini?
No. Why?
I don't know.
You asked me that. No. I'm a Libra.
A Libra? When it oh shit.
Just ended.
Oh, okay. Wait. No, that's Leo is August. When's Libra? Oh, so Libra is October, the end of October. So it does it start in the beginning or is there overlap?
Yeah. Libra starts like end of September and then goes through October 20 like 5th or something, 23rd.
Who is it now?
Scorpio, baby. We're
Oh,
getting dark and twisty.
I can't keep up. It's crazy. I was asking because 33 was a super epic year for me. So I'm just looking forward to year 33.
Interesting.
I mean, not super epic in like any actual
Well,
way.
it's like a spiritual thing, 33. People are like, oh,
It's
33 is like the year. And I already feel like every year has been like the year. So I'm like,
yes. I love hearing that though, because I have a lot of friends who are like, gosh, 2018 was shit. And then 2019 was shit. And then 2020 happened and 2021 got worse. And I'm like, why are you keeping track in that way?
yeah.
You know what I
honestly,
mean?
it just feels like constant transformation. Like
Yes.
I'm not like mad about it. I feel like I haven't had a break in like 6 years, honestly. So I'm just like, okay, like we're doing and we're learning and we're suffering and we're joy and it's just like, like it's like, okay, like I'm here for the ride. I will try and do my best at what I feel called to do and what shows up for me to deal with. And like, that's what we do.
Exactly.
So,
And then let that shit go.
yeah.
Don't hold on. Don't
That's
people
true.
like keep
Tricky
score on that shit. It's like stop keeping score of your bad shit.
No, you can't keep score. You cannot. You like go through it and then you like reflect on it. You're like, damn, like that happened. And from that, now this is happening. And then you do that thing.
Yes. Like I even having my first, I was 19 when I got pregnant. I wanted to kill myself. Straight up, like, religious family, Midwest, like
young,
not married.
Mm-hmm.
Like I fucked up and I'm going to just go end it now because there is nothing I can do, which is just so silly looking back on it, like I fucking love my child and he is the coolest thing ever. You know what I mean? And my husband and I wouldn't even be together.
Yeah.
If I didn't already have that one. And I wouldn't have that one if I didn't go to that school with that ex-boyfriend. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
It's insane.
And
It's
it's crazy how
insane.
like the things that seem like the end of the world, I don't, you know what? I don't even want to speak this, but you know what I'm saying.
I
Like
do.
good things come from intense times.
Absolutely.
I'm just like
That's
over
when
here
the
like
growth
nodding my head
happens, you
intensely.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and people don't want to hear that. And they don't want
It's
to
hard. It's
it,
hard.
it is. It's
It's hard
hard
when
to
everything's
face change and like not push it away, you know?
Mhm.
Like that's a very human trait. Like, oh fuck no. Why are you changing? Facebook? And it's
Mm.
like, well, that's a whole different thing. But that's a whole different thing. But you know how people get upset when their apps change? Like
Mm.
it's really a change to probably improve for your use.
Yeah.
But
Not a
you're
bad
like,
analogy, honestly. You're like, wait, I don't know how to navigate this anymore, and everything's different and it's weird.
yeah,
But
but really
then
it's
you're like,
probably, yeah, if you just learn the new thing really fast, then it's actually way more beneficial. Probably, you know,
I feel like the
not
last year,
Facebook was a terrible example.
well, but it's a proper analogy. Like, you're not wrong, but I just feel like my last year I had like a lot of, those like tower moments where you're just like, oh, cool. Everything is like ruined. Like everything is awful as can be. And it got so painful that at one point, it forced me to just surrender. I was like, whatever happens, happens. I just like cannot suffer anymore about this. And then the tides change.
Yeah,
And you're like,
once you let
oh,
go. Isn't that wild?
yeah, it is wild. And like
Crazy.
every time I just hesitate to speak on it because every time I speak on it and think I'm good with it, like it happens again. So I just like need a month. Just like I'm down, like I get it, but just like give me another month. Chill.
Oh, ain't that the truth? It's like I wasn't asking for you. I was not
Yeah.
summoning you.
I was not summoning this experience. I was just saying like survive.
I know. And then it really inevitably does always happen again. Whether
Always.
it's like, I don't know, if it's not a work thing, then it's a home thing. And if it's not a home thing, then it's a loss thing. And if it's not, you know what I mean? Like
And
if
then
it's
it's
not a
like the
loss thing, it's a bank account thing. Like there's always going to be something that like makes you feel like you're walking through spider webs for a little
yeah.
bit, you know, like that's always what I imagine is like, instead of drowning, it's more like, ugh, good, like
Like
get out of
then
here.
at least you could like clear them.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Like,
bad.
and you can, but it's fucking gnarly, you know, like no one likes that shit, but you got to do it if you're gonna, you know, you just
That's
gotta
that
step
shadow
it up.
work, girl. That's
It
that
really
shadow work.
is. It truly is. Hey, and was that a tower, like a reference to tarot? Heck yeah, I knew it. I knew we were gonna be friends.
Yeah.
Oh snap. Well, I already told you I would let you go, and that was 10 minutes ago. So
Well,
I
I
will
have some
let you.
soup to eat. So make it full
I
circle.
threw a lasagna. Oh yes, right back to the mushy, the warm and
Hot
mushy.
mush.
Hot mush.
Hot mush.
Mine is hot mush too, but it's lasagna.
That
But I
sounds
would classify that as hot mush.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That sounds delicious.
Thank you, Kirkland. Got it at Costco.
Ugh.
Frozen lasagna. But it works when you got, I'm like, and then I was like, shit, 2 hours. That's a long time. Like, I'm gonna be done and ready to eat an hour before it's ready. And it's like, oh, actually, me and Samantha just talked forever. Oh, damn. Well, it was so good to see you. And I will see you again this Friday.
I am super stoked. Thank you for having me. I loved getting our one-on-one hangout.
Yeah, same. Oh, and if you I don't know what your guys' travel plans are for Friday, but if you guys want to come up early and like touch down at my place before, you're more than welcome. I'm on the south side, so it's on your way.
We'll talk to the caravan.
Yeah. Let me know what's up. All right. So good to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Enjoy your lasagna.
Oh, thanks.